Good morning. It's about 9 o'clock. I'm just heading up onto St Breock Downs. Have some wind turbines to my right. Have Hustyn's wood to my left. Weather is okay this morning. It's a bit of a breeze, but it's not wet. Hopefully it will stay that way. The ground is a bit wet today. Has been raining for most of the week, which is a bit unfortunate because it can be a bit sludgy in places. Anyway, I will be heading up to the St Breock Downs monolith. Visibility is okay today. It's not fantastic, but I'm hoping once I get up to the top I'll be able to see out to the coast. There are some really good views on a good day. So I'm now joining up with the Saints Way trail, and that's a trail that goes from the north to the south coast of Cornwall. Specifically, it's from Padstow to Foy. But for the moment, if I follow it up this road, then I'll reach the St Breock Downs monolith, which is exactly how it describes itself. Mono meaning single, lith meaning stone. It is a large single stone. I believe it's the largest standing stone in Cornwall. Say hello to the sheep. On the other side, you can really see quite far off into the distance. Here's the sign for the monolith. When I was last here, that sign was pointing in the wrong direction. So, thankfully, someone has fixed it. So here we are. This is the monolith, which is indeed the largest and heaviest standing stone in Cornwall. This is how it looks from the opposite side. So if you look out into the distance from up here, you can see all along the coast. Not sure just how clear it is on the GoPro, but with your eyes you can see quite clearly. And all along that coastline is where I walked last week, which was fun. Looking more towards the north, you can see Bodmin Moor, Brown Willie is over there, which I believe is the highest point in Cornwall. Though I always think the whatever's in that direction looks higher, but I think that might be the clay works. On a clearer day, you'd get a really good view out to sea from up here. It's not quite that clear today, it's a bit cloudy and grey, slightly misty down towards the sea, though I'm looking through quite a long distance to see down there. We shall see how it goes with how the ground is. It is very wet and muddy under my feet, so that may affect how far I can go. Being watched by the sheep. So I happen to know the Cornish name for brown willie, which is Bronwenili. For some reason, whenever I see the Cornish language, it just looks like a kind of like Welsh to me. And I always imagine it being spoken like the same way you would speak Welsh. I don't actually know how the Cornish language is supposed to sound, or how combinations of letters or diphthongs are supposed to sound. Something that I kind of want to learn, because then I might be able to read it and hear what it's supposed to sound like in my head, instead of reading it and assuming it sounds the same as Welsh, because it probably does not. The very little Cornish that I do know, or words that I know in Cornish that I also know in Welsh, are very similar, which is probably why I tend to think they would be pronounced in a similar way. But I have absolutely no reason to believe that. But I think the trouble with Cornish is that it actually is like a dead language. The last person who spoke Cornish natively, I believe, died quite some time ago. It seems to be seeing a bit of a revival. It's not anywhere near like the level of Welsh, where if you're in Wales, pretty much everything comes with Welsh and English. I quite like the Welsh language, but I never really got far into learning it. People tend to give Welsh a bit of a bad rep because they assume that it sounds like horrible, but it really doesn't. Although one of the issues that I have with Welsh is there's certain letters that I'm unable to pronounce, like the way they pronounce R and RH in combination, which is like a alveolar trill. I've never been able to make that sound. It's really annoying because that's one of the sounds that I really like, that I think makes a lot of languages sound really nice to listen to, and I'm not able to make that sound, which is fantastic. I should maybe try practicing it again, because I did spend quite some time trying to learn to do it, but I never really made any progress. I did teach myself to whistle, which for like 20 years of my life I couldn't whistle, but I did figure that one out. So maybe it's not hopeless. Definitely need to look at getting some waterproof running shoes. I had the same problem last week, which is that I've got water in my toes. This time it's not from sand, it's from just walking through this grass. But the grass is wet, and that's just enough to get water through my shoes somehow. I'm really not sure where the path actually goes through this field. There is a sign at the entrance to the field that says to walk around the outside, I think it's this way. There's a public footpath. Public footpath. Whatever I was trying to say. Yeah. If you see signs, that's usually a good thing. But it says on like the temporary signage that they've got up that they want to improve the way marking, which can only be a good thing. I seem to find quite a few footpath signs and that have been broken down. I don't know whether that's due to adverse weather or if there are people that for some reason derive joy out of pulling the posts out of the ground. Quite nice and quiet at the moment. I was talking earlier about languages. I started learning Greek last year, but I haven't kept up with it, and I keep thinking I should go back and continue learning, and I really should. There's no reason not to. Would be something to do in spare time where I can use my brain and learn things. But I just find that like I always tend to just move on to something new. So have they actually fixed this bridge now? Doesn't look like it's totally completed, but now entering the village of Hustyn. Thinking I should have worn my hiking boots today. Bit of a trade-off between running shoes, which give you more agility, and hiking boots, which a bit more support and are completely waterproof. It's mostly the waterproofing that I would like. So yeah, definitely going to try and get some waterproof running shoes. As quickly as I entered the village, I'm now leaving it. So I now have soaking wet feet. I'm really considering whether it's worth continuing, or at least continuing the way I had planned to go. For two reasons. One, because soaking wet feet, and I'm like not even half of the distance that I wanted to cover yet today. And two, because the next section of the path is completely blocked off by cows. I think I'm going to go explore in a slightly different direction. My feet are very wet and very cold, which really is not great, so it might be just as well that I'm not going way out of the way today. Honestly, like, not 1 minute after saying that, this is where I end up. My foot going right down in the mud. And that does not smell good. I'm once again leaving Hustyn. My feet are absolutely soaking, which is fantastic. So it's now the first weekend of February, have to say I'm surprised how quickly the year is going by already. I had wanted to do Veganuary this year, which is going vegan for the month of January, but I didn't end up doing it, mostly because I didn't have enough time to plan it out. When I got the idea in my head, it was like already well into December, and I didn't have time enough to plan out what I would eat. I'm quite specific about the nutrition that I get. Eating a vegan diet, it's a bit more difficult for me to get the spread of macronutrients that I would normally eat on an average day. Regardless of whether or not I did Veganuary, because that's just like a novelty thing. I do think there's a legitimate argument for eating a more plant-based diet long term, or at least a more sustainable diet. So I'm heading back up the road towards where the monolith is, but I won't be going to the monolith itself. So I'll be taking a turn up here and going down to Hustyn Downs. I guess I'll have a look around there for a while. Kind of looks like rain in the distance. Do hope that's not coming my way, but it probably is. As I have already mentioned several times, have soaking wet feet already. It does now seem to be starting to rain, which is fantastic. I don't think it's very much though. I've only felt some very fine droplets of water. Hustyn Downs now coming into view. It's just down this hill, really. So I'll be there shortly. Just have a bit of a walk around. So I'm now up on Hustyn Downs, just looking around. It does go up a little higher, so I'll probably continue up the hill a little bit. Be interesting to see what I can see in the other direction. It's like a large pit right here. I'm just coming to the top of the hill now. It's a little bit boggy up here, but a fantastic view actually. Again, I don't know how well this will be picked up on the GoPro, but you can see right out to the mouth of the River Camel. You can see Padstow, you can see the cliffs and the sea. I think it's probably worth coming up here just for that view. Just looking out there makes me really want to go to the coast now. I'd love to just go for a walk around the sea. So moving down a bit, I can see out to Trevose Head, which is just in the distance beyond the hills in the foreground. I can never tell when I look from here, like, whether it looks like a longer walk along the coast than I expect or a shorter walk. Because on one hand it's like that's quite a long way away, so it looks like it should be quite a long walk. But on the other hand, when you can see it all from one viewpoint, I think that probably makes you underestimate the distance, because you don't see all the twists and turns in the path. Not sure what these mounds are, whether it's just part of the terrain or if they have some sort of significance. There's some ancient stuff in this area, so it could be a burial mound or something. Would have to go and look up the map to see where all the historical things are. So we'll just be following this back down the hill, then going back up, and I guess we'll go check out the woods or something. So I just came into the trees off the road. I saw like a small opening, so I thought, why not? Yes, water and my shoes have got to know each other very well today. Is there a possibility that I can avoid them getting any more intimate? That looks like a bit of a lost cause, to be honest. We can go across the river, but there's I'm not sure how far I can get in that direction, because I know this river ends up parallel to the road again. It's going to continue back up the road, get back to the top of the hill, and then I will head towards the woods. I'm pretty sure this is where the river goes. So even had I been on the other side, I think it wouldn't have been very productive. They're all looking. Anyway, just coming over the crest of the hill. You can see the woods in the distance. That's where I'll be heading now. I don't know. Apparently some people have been doing some bad driving around here. Getting closer to the entrance to the woods now. Just down this lane is where there's normally very large puddles, which you can see on the road. It's not far to get to the woods now. It doesn't look too bad. I think I can just get around the outside. In there. such an interesting life. Clean up after your dog. And I really wish people would. Something that really irks me, like, despite kind of being in the middle of nowhere, coming the way that I've come, it's the sheer amount of litter along the sides of all the roads. Like, there's just so much everywhere. People really have no respect for the countryside, and it makes me sad. Because it really takes like no effort to just take your litter home. Same goes for dogs as well, really. The footpath that I walked through this morning before I started filming, it goes through some fields that are owned by a farm. There are plenty of signs up saying to pick up after your dog and to take it away, and yet you find so much dog poo. Anyway, I haven't been this way before, so I'm just going to kind of see where I end up. Looks like someone has built some sort of tent. Don't really know where I'm going, but doesn't matter too much. I know at least vaguely the layout of these woods, so surely I won't get lost. Quite like walking through places like this. It's nice and quiet. Walking through the trees. This seems like where I went the last time I was here, but I'm not entirely sure. I have a habit of like following the main path for only a few steps until I see something that looks more interesting, and then following that instead. Now it's dark and scary. I'm fairly sure these paths are used for people who are biking. Though I haven't seen anyone on a bike out in the woods before. So I feel like it's normally probably quite safe to walk down these sorts of paths without, seeing many people. Yeah, I'm fairly certain of where I am now. I think I just had my orientation a bit wrong. Thought I was heading further down the path than I actually was, but Yeah, I know exactly where I am. So the question is, do I go down the hill, which I will basically need to anyway, or continue along here? I'm pretty sure if I continue on, then I have to end up going down anyway. So may as well. Or at least you have to be on the other side of this wall. From what I remember, that is. I love this, like, just 10 minutes from the entrance of the woods and you can just be completely alone. It's almost totally silent other than the faint sound of the river and the birds. It's just a nice experience. Like, to be honest, I'd get into exercising just to come out for stuff like this, if not for any other reason. Probably best thing now is to find my way back to the path, which I know that I could just keep going this way. Because trying to go down the bank will probably be a bit too slippery. And if I stick at least closer to the main path, I won't end up having to cross the river in just my shoes. I probably want to go that way, but I want to take a look down here to see how steep it is. That's not too bad, actually. Yes, I said I probably wouldn't just come down the bank, but every time I see a path, I just want to take it and find out where it goes. The main path is just to my right now. Guess I'm looking for a convenient way down. May have just found it. Don't want to slip. I think there's a path just here. I think I was on that the last time that I came through. Seems likely because I came off back onto the main path somewhere down there, and then I went down. Is this a path? This looks like a good path. That tree is falling over. Yes, pay attention, otherwise I too will fall over. Pretty sure I went down last time. Pretty sure the way down is here somewhere. Here we are. Almost slipped. Whoa. Nice little run for a minute. I like this little stream. Nice and peaceful. Now in the upper part of Bishopswood. Let's have a little wander through these woods. Cannot resist a path that goes off the main path. Be interesting to know how far I've walked today. Haven't been keeping track of it. I do have a GPS tracker in my backpack, so I could check. looks like a path that goes off the main path to me. Not sure how walkable it is down here because wet. That is the River Camel right there. Supposedly I've done 34 kilometers so far. Feel obliged to at least reach 40. Or really at least 42.2, which is one marathon. Well, it's like 42.19 something, I think, really, but who cares? So, not too far to Wade Bridge. We'll be walking in that direction. There is not too much of interest just down this part of the camel trail. Do get some okay views of the river along here. You can see the woods on the other side. Path crosses over the river here on this bridge. So I've just come off the path. This is our farmland. These are their pigs. The other direction, those squirrels are going a bit nuts in the tree over there. You can really hear them squeaking. I've not heard that before. Saw this little opening to go in the trees. There's no way you can go in there. They kind of just got stuck trying to find a way back out. Had to turn around. Whatever path that I've just walked into now, this does look like it actually goes somewhere. Seems like a nice path through the trees and that. I'm kind of wondering where it ends. Where it's going to come out. I think I recognise these trees. Definitely know where I am now. That was a fun little trail. Whichever bird this is seems to have a wide range of vocalizations. Just leaving the farmland now, heading back the way I would have come this morning. Don't really know how I feel about walking around with wet feet for the last 6 hours. See across the River Camel. Just walking towards the centre of Wade Bridge along the river. I heard some splashes in the water. I'm not sure if it was a bird diving down or if it was a fish, but I didn't see anything come back up. It was quite a large splash as well. There was just another one then. There's some exercise equipment down here. I'm pretty sure every time I walk past, more and more of it is gated off. I suppose people must be vandalising it or something, which is a real shame. Just one last walk in the woods. I'm at Coronation Park. It's pretty much the end of the day now. It's really starting to get dark. I've done over 1 marathon of distance now, which I guess is something. Didn't really go as planned today, but still had a good day out, which is good. It was fun. So I guess that's it really, just wrapping up, and I will make my way home from here.